Imagine inheriting $18 million. Now, imagine your two older brothers inheriting that exact same amount, a staggering sum that would set them up for life, while you, the youngest, the one who always tried hardest to please everyone, got, well, you got a dusty, plain manila envelope. No flashy bank transfer, no lawyer's solemn pronouncements of a vast fortune. Just this pathetic worn-out packet. Was I wrong to feel a burning, seething resentment? Was I wrong to feel like my own father, even in death, had made it perfectly clear who his favorite children were, and that I was not among them? Tell me honestly what you would have done if you were in my shoes, watching your brothers celebrate their new lives while you held nothing but a tangible symbol of your supposed insignificance. Let me take you back to the beginning, to a time when I still believed in the concept of a fair and loving family, a belief that would soon be shattered into a million pieces. My father, Richard Sterling, was a self-made man. He'd started from nothing, a literal rags to riches story. He built a real estate empire from the ground up, brick by painstaking brick. He was a titan in our city, respected, feared, and undeniably wealthy. He had 3 children, David, the eldest, a charming but notoriously lazy man who'd always skated by on his good looks and a silver tongue; Mark, the middle child, a shrewd, calculating individual who'd shown a knack for business but often lacked ethical boundaries; and then there was me, Alexander, the youngest. I was the one who genuinely loved learning, who tried to understand my father's business, who spent countless hours in the company archives, absorbing every detail, every deal, every mistake. In triumph, I wasn't as flamboyant as David or as cutthroat as Mark, but I was diligent, loyal, and I genuinely cared about the legacy my father was building. I wanted to contribute, to prove my worth. Our mother had passed away when I was very young, leaving a void that was never truly filled, and perhaps that's why I clung so tightly to the idea of a cohesive family unit, a sense of belonging within my father's world. I remember spending my summers not at fancy camps like my brothers, but in the Sterling Properties office, filing documents, observing meetings, and simply trying to be present, trying to soak up whatever wisdom my father might impart. He was a distant man, not overtly affectionate, but I always believed he saw my effort, my dedication. I thought he appreciated it. I truly did. Fast forward to last year. My father, after a brief but aggressive battle with an illness, passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 78. It was a somber time, of course. Despite his emotional distance, he was my father, and his death marked the end of an era. The funeral was a grand affair, attended by all the movers and shakers of the city. My brothers and I stood shoulder to shoulder, projecting an image of unity and grief, though beneath the surface, the usual fraternal tensions simmered. We knew the will reading would be a significant event. My father had never been shy about his wealth, and it was no secret he'd built an immense fortune. Weeks later, the family lawyer, Mr. Thompson, gathered us in his opulent office. The air was thick with anticipation. David was practically vibrating with excitement, while Mark maintained his usual stoic facade, though I could see the glint in his eye. I, on the other hand, felt a strange mix of apprehension and hope. I had dedicated so much of my life to understanding my father's business, to being there for him. Surely he recognized that. Surely he would acknowledge my commitment. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat, adjusted his spectacles, and began to read. He started with the formal preamble, the standard legal jargon, and then he got to the crux of it. To my brother, David Sterling, a sum of $18 million. David let out a barely suppressed gasp of delight, a smug grin spreading across his face. To my brother Mark Sterling, a sum of $18 million. Mark simply nodded, a slight smirk now playing on his lips, as if he'd expected nothing less. My heart pounded in my chest. $18 million each, a truly astronomical sum. My turn was next. I braced myself, expecting a similar figure, perhaps slightly less as the youngest, but still substantial. I waited and waited. Mr. Thompson paused, his eyes scanning the document. He then looked up directly at me with an almost apologetic expression. "And to Alexander Sterling," he began, his voice softer now, "your father bequeathed the contents of this envelope." He placed a single, rather grubby, plain brown manila envelope on the polished mahogany table in front of me. It was thin, slightly dog-eared, and bore no markings, nothing, not a word more about me, not a single dollar amount. Just that envelope. David let out a snicker, quickly covering it with a cough. Mark just stared, a flicker of genuine surprise on his face, quickly replaced by a triumphant, almost pitying look. My world in that instant imploded. The carefully constructed image of my father's affection, of my place in the family, shattered. 18 million, for them, a dusty envelope, for me. I felt a cold dread settle in my stomach, followed by a burning wave of humiliation and betrayal. I picked up the envelope. It felt insignificant in my hands, a stark contrast to the millions my brothers were now celebrating. I numbly excused myself, the congratulations and back patting my brothers were receiving from Mr. Thompson echoing in my ears as I walked out, the weight of that flimsy envelope feeling heavier than any fortune. I went straight home, locked myself in my apartment, and just stared at the envelope. It sat there on my coffee table, a testament to my father's apparent disregard. Hours passed. I didn't open it. I couldn't. The anger, the hurt, the feeling of being utterly dismissed, was overwhelming. My brothers, I knew, were probably already planning their extravagant purchases, their new lives of leisure. David would probably buy a yacht and spend his days in the Caribbean. Mark would likely invest shrewdly, expanding his own ventures, but now with a massive safety net. And me, I had this thing. I contemplated throwing it away, burning it, anything to erase the sting of its existence. But curiosity, a tiny flicker, eventually broke through the wall of my resentment. What asterisk could asterisk possibly be in there? A cruel joke, a final insult, maybe a cryptic message. My hands trembled as I finally, tentatively, tore open the seal. Inside there wasn't cash, no deed to a forgotten property, no obscure stock certificates. There were only two things. The first was a single, yellowed photograph. It was an old picture of my mother, taken years before she died, standing in front of a small, quaint house with a vibrant rose garden. She was smiling, a radiant, genuine smile that I rarely saw in the few photos I had of her. The second item was a handwritten letter, folded neatly, addressed to me. My father's distinct, elegant script. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it, the explanation. The reason. I took a deep breath and began to read. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Here I was, holding what I thought was a cruel joke, a stark contrast to the millions my brothers had just inherited, feeling utterly abandoned and humiliated. Before I tell you what happened next, what those contents truly revealed, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have dismissed the envelope as an insult? Would you have demanded an explanation from the lawyer? Or would you, like I eventually did, dive into the unknown, hoping for some hidden meaning? Let me know your thoughts before I unveil the truth. The letter began, "My dearest Alexander, if you are reading this, then I am no longer with you. I know you must be feeling confused, perhaps even angry, at the disparity of what your brothers received and what I have left for you in this simple envelope. But please, hear me out, my son. This is not a slight, but a testament to my deepest trust and a legacy far more valuable than any sum of money. My eyes scanned the words, trying to make sense of them. David and Mark. The letter continued, for all their strengths, have always gravitated towards the easy path, the material. They value what can be bought, what can be seen. They will spend their inheritances. Perhaps wisely, perhaps foolishly, but it will be a finite sum, a temporary solution to their desires. But you, Alexander, you are different. You have always possessed a depth of character, a keen mind, and a genuine curiosity that your brothers lack. You have always sought understanding, not just acquisition. I felt a tear prick my eye. He had seen me. He had noticed. The photograph you hold. The letter went on, is of your mother's childhood home. It was her sanctuary, a place of immense joy and peace. It was where she learned to love, to dream. When we married, she often spoke of buying it back one day, of restoring it to its former glory. But life and my ambition got in the way. I never fulfilled that dream for her. Before she passed, she made me promise one thing, that if I ever truly wanted to honor her memory, I would ensure that someone in our family, someone who understood the value of heritage and quiet beauty, would bring that house back to life. That house, my son, is the foundation of your true inheritance. I devoured the rest of the letter, my initial anger slowly transforming into a mix of awe and burgeoning excitement. My father explained that he had, years ago, secretly bought that very house. It wasn't just a house. It was the original Sterling family home from his side, a place that held generations of their history, including his own humble beginnings. He had acquired it under a different name, making sure it was completely off the books of Sterling Properties, a secret project. He detailed how he had systematically bought up all the land surrounding it over the decades, parcel by parcel, creating a vast, pristine estate that was completely unencumbered by any public records tied to his name or his business empire. He had then, for the last 10 years of his life, been quietly developing it, not into a commercial property, but into something far more profound. He had built a self-sustaining eco-haven, an experimental community focused on renewable energy, organic farming, and sustainable living. He had invested millions into cutting-edge technology, research facilities, and a complete infrastructure, all designed to operate completely independently, off the grid, and with minimal environmental impact. The letter revealed that he had hired a small, dedicated team of brilliant scientists, engineers, and environmentalists who had been working in secret on this project for years, funded entirely by him without anyone, not even my brothers, knowing its true scope or existence. This is not just a property, Alexander. My father's words resonated. It is a vision, a blueprint for a different future. Everything, the land, the infrastructure, the patents for the renewable energy systems, the agricultural techniques developed there, the intellectual property of the entire research facility, it all belongs to you. It is entirely separate from Sterling Properties. It is your legacy to nurture, to expand, to guide. The full detailed plans, the legal documents establishing you as the sole owner, the contact information for the team, and access codes to the facility's encrypted servers are all stored in a secure deposit box, the key to which is attached to this letter. And there it was, taped to the back of the final page, a small, unassuming brass key. My father ended the letter with a poignant message. Your brothers will have their millions, and they will live their lives of material comfort. But you, my son, you have been given the opportunity to build something lasting, something meaningful, something that truly impacts the world. This is not about wealth, Alexander, but about purpose. Your purpose, Do with it what you will, but know that I believe in your ability to lead this vision forward. I believe in you, more than you ever knew. The next few weeks were a blur. I retrieved the contents of the deposit box. It was indeed a treasure trove of information, intricate architectural plans, detailed schematics for advanced solar and geothermal energy systems, comprehensive studies on hydroponics and aquaponics, patents for innovative waste to energy converters, and a full roster of highly credentialed professionals, all eager to continue their work. The estate itself, which I finally visited under strict secrecy, was breathtaking. Hidden deep within a vast expanse of meticulously cultivated land, it was a futuristic oasis, a sprawling complex of interconnected buildings powered by unseen forces, surrounded by lush gardens, pristine wilderness, and a calm, self-contained serenity. It was a technological marvel, a sustainable utopia in the making, all built by my father's foresight and vision. The value, it wasn't just 18 million. It was immeasurable. The intellectual property alone, the patented technologies, the research breakthroughs, the sheer potential of this self-sustaining community far surpassed any monetary sum. This was a legacy, not just a fortune. My brothers, meanwhile, were openly gloating about their millions. David bought a mansion and a fleet of luxury cars. Mark started expanding his own ventures, making splashy investments. They tried to subtly pump me for information, asking if I'd found anything interesting in the envelope. I simply shrugged, maintaining a poker face, telling them it was just some old sentimental stuff, a few trinkets. Let them think what they wanted. Let them enjoy their finite sums. My inheritance was growing, evolving, a living, breathing entity. I started quietly working with the team, learning every aspect of the project. I immersed myself in the research, the engineering, the environmental science. I found my purpose, just as my father had intended. The feeling of being dismissed, of being cheated, slowly faded, replaced by an immense sense of responsibility and a quiet, profound gratitude. My father hadn't slighted me. He had entrusted me with his greatest work, his true legacy, knowing I was the only one who would truly appreciate and nurture it. So, that's my story. My brothers got their 18 million and are living their version of the high life, albeit with a rapidly depleting financial cushion, while I received a dusty envelope that contained not just a key, but a future that holds the potential to genuinely change the world. It's a secret I still keep from them, one that I will likely carry for a very long time. And sometimes, when I'm walking through the verdant gardens of the estate, or watching the solar arrays quietly hum, I smile. I smile because my father truly knew me. He knew what kind of wealth truly mattered. Like this video, if you were on my side and understood my father's intent. Subscribe for more stories like this, where appearances can be deceiving and the greatest treasures are often hidden in plain sight. And share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Did my father do the right thing? I'll see you all in the next story.